I had quite a day today, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't practicing any of those things, man. My self-will went off the deep end today, I'll tell you. I want to say rightfully so, but whenever I do that, I know that I'm wrong. So the show would be great. Everybody, including himself, would be pleased. Let's see if I have anything else here. The actor, let's see here. Oh, I'll just finish, then I'll read some more here. Life would be wonderful. In trying to make these arrangements, our actor may sometimes be quite virtuous. Let's highlight to the end of the paragraph. He may be kind, considerate, patient, generous, even modest and self-sacrificing. On the other hand, he may be mean, egotistical, selfish, and dishonest. But as with most humans, he is more likely to have varied traits. So next to that, we're going to write, you spot it, you got it. You spot it, you got it, right? And what does that mean? So what is this actor guy, right? So when other people are running the show, right? When other people, I can see other people running the show their way, right? And they're trying to dominate and control everything. And I'm thinking, screw them. They're wrong, and they're making a mess of these things. So when other people try to do things that I do, I can see it, and I say, these guys are full of it, they're wrong. Now, when I try to control everything and run the show, I can't see it. I cannot see it when I'm doing it, man. And the reason I can't see it is because I'm right. And my way is the right way, right? And I'm actually being magnanimous and nice because with my way, everybody wins. Why can't they see that, right? So when it's me doing it, I can't see it. But when it's other people, I can see it, right? So funny enough, steps 4 through 10 are designed so that I can see it when I'm wrong. When I'm wrong about my boss, my girlfriend, my parents, my friends, they're designed so that I can see when I'm wrong, right? And funny enough, if I make a judgment, right, then I'm right. I'm right. And I make a judgment, I have to defend, I have to justify, and I have to rationalize. Now, a guy that I respect, he said, John, every time you're justifying, defending, and rationalizing, you're wrong. Right? Because if you were right, you wouldn't have to do that. And I say, well, no, that's not true. So every time I find myself trying to defend something and rationalize it, I pull myself out of the situation and I look at it, and pretty much 100% of the time, I'm wrong. Because if I'm right, I don't have to do that, right? So this is the actor. What usually happens, the show doesn't come off very well. Right? He begins to think life doesn't treat him right. He decides to exert himself more. He becomes on the next occasion still more demanding or gracious, as the case may be. Still, the play does not suit him. Admitting he may be somewhat at fault, underline, he may be somewhat at fault, he is sure that other people are more to blame. And then highlight the next one. He becomes angry, indignant, self-pitying. Okay? So, we do stuff to other people, and they don't like it, and they come at us, and we blame them. It's their fault. We have no part in this whatsoever, right? So we're gonna list 6 questions. Off to the right, let's write 6 questions. You can put a question mark with an S. 6 questions of self-delusion, right? And in parentheses, you can put will. 6 questions of self-delusion. So the put a 1 in front of what? This is just the rhetorical one. What is his basic trouble? All right, that's the question that's going to start it out. Put a 2 in front of is. Is he not really a self-seeker even when trying to be kind? So we're going to put a little translation at the bottom of the page, so write small. So at the bottom of the page, put a little 2. And write this is a kind of rudimentary, but write, look good in front of others. Look good in front of others. We can put a 3 in front of the next is. Is he not a victim of the delusion that he can wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if he only manages well? Okay, we can put a 3, we can put manipulate situations. manipulate situations. I guess an example, beer only question mark, but it has to do with many other things. That's using outside stuff to fix an inside problem, right? That new car is going to do it. That new girlfriend is going to make everything just fine. I can wrest satisfaction. Put a 4 in front of is. Is it not evident to all the rest of the players that these are the things he wants? Or is that a 4? I'm sorry. 4, yep. Translation, if I was king, everything okay? That's the tyrant king. If you ever read one of those Hazelton pamphlets. If I was king, everything would be fine. People would have to listen to me, man. They'd have to do what I say. 5 in front of and do not his actions make each of them wish to retaliate, snatching all they can get out of the show? So after 5, we can just write piss them off. We piss them off. We make people angry at us. And I never got that, man. I was using, and I remember it more the first year of my sobriety, that I would do stuff and I couldn't see it. And I couldn't understand why people were getting so angry at me and coming at me. And I wanted to go over my boss's head and say, this is what he's doing to the best salesman in the company. Look at this guy, right? I couldn't see it. So piss him off. 6 in front of is he not even in his best moments a producer of confusion rather than harmony? Okay, so the easy translation 6 is stir the pot. Stir the pot. Now, I was really good at that, right? I would be up to my shenanigans, and I would create such chaos going on that nobody would be looking at me, right? So I was really good at stirring the pot. A producer of confusion, and I loved it when it was chaos, because then I could do whatever I want and they wouldn't see me. Let's highlight the next line. Our actor is self-centered, egocentric. So next to that little line, we can write the whiner, and that's W-H-I-N-E-R. The whiner. Right, the whiner. As people like to call it nowadays, he is like the retired businessman who lolls in the Florida sunshine in the winter, complaining of the sad state of the nation, the minister who sighs over the sins of the 20th century, politicians and reformers who are sure all would be utopia if the rest of the world would only behave, the outlaw safecracker who thinks society has wronged him, and the alcoholic who has lost all and is locked up. Whatever our protestations, okay, we're going to highlight, are not most of us concerned with ourselves, our resentments, or our self-pity. Highlight that, and then off to the left we can write me, 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 me. Now, at the top of the page, we're going to write a definition for self-seeking. So you can write self-seeking, and you can put looking good in front of others. One good definition of self-seeking, looking good in front of others. I spent a lot of time running around trying to get people to think I was somebody I wasn't. A lot of effort in that. Self-seeking, looking good in front of others. And then also at the top in there, let's write, go to any length to believe the lies we tell ourselves. Go to any length to believe the lies we tell ourselves. And that's why I was so happy when when you go through the steps, you can actually start to begin to see things as they really are, and mainly yourself. You can see how you've been acting your whole life. So we're going to highlight the next 4 lines as well. Selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our troubles. driven by 100 forms of fear, self-delusion, self-seeking, and self-pity. We step on the toes of our fellows and they retaliate. Okay, so above selfishness and self-centeredness, you can write basic instincts. And off to the left, we're going to write self-delusion is thinking I know. Self-delusion is thinking I know. Right? That's why when I'm trying to control stuff and I'm running around because I am right, that I'm doing everybody a favor because I'm right. Right? And I really believe that. There was a psychiatric doctor, and I can't remember the exact statistics, but these were crazy people, right? They were locked up, and he asked everybody in the asylum. He said, "Would you rather be right or would you rather be free?" And something like 90% of the crazy folks said, "I'd rather be right, rather than get out of there." And you know, funny enough, when I look at myself, if I don't have to be right, I'm free. If I have to be right all the time, I'm in prison, man. Because that is just a lot of work and it's a hard way to live. So if you don't have to be right, you're free. Sometimes they hurt us seemingly without provocation, but we invariably find that at sometime in the past we have made decisions based on self, underline self, which later placed us in a position to be hurt. Okay, so next to that we can write leading into fourth step. Leading into fourth step, in parentheses, not a victim anymore. Right? I got done with my fifth step and I wasn't a victim anymore. I was just me. Leading into fourth step, not a victim anymore. So, you guys got that little sheet on basic instincts? Okay? So, by the way, step 3 is, made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God. That's a pretty tall order to swallow. So for me, what I do is I think, will is my thinking and life is my actions. So I'm just asking God to direct my thinking and also to direct my actions. For some reason, that's a little bit easier for me to swallow. It means the same thing, but it's easier for me to swallow. So basic instincts, right? All humans they're born with 3 basic instincts of life. Now these instincts are God-given and absolutely necessary for the survival of the human race. Therefore, they are good. Okay, the first one is the social instinct, right? To be liked, accepted, and respected by others. We come together in groups. We need these desires to prevent dog-eat-dog anarchy, right? And you got companionship to belong, and we have prestige to be the leader of. Then we've got self-esteem, what we think of ourselves high or low based on what others think of us or based on what we think others think of us, right? And then we got that word pride, right? Pride, always a great thing, right? Well, pride, we can think too well of ourselves or we can think not enough of ourselves, and either way it's not the truth. One definition I found of pride is excessive self-esteem, a feeling that you are better than others. Right? So be careful with that stuff. These instincts, they create within some humans an insatiable desire for more and more power, more and more recognition, and if we're not getting it fast enough, we take shortcuts. Right? Now my shortcuts were lying, conning, manipulating, stepping on toes of other people, right? Living by my rules, the hell to you, the hell with you. We create pain and suffering for others. They in turn create pain and suffering for us. And we think they're doing it for no reason whatsoever, right? A life run on self-will cannot be a success because we're always in collision with people, places, and things. The next one is the security instinct. Right? We all live, we stay sober one day at a time, but we all have insurance policies. All humans want to be secure in the future. Food, clothing, shelter, and what we need to survive. If we didn't do this, we would die out in the winter, particularly in Minnesota. The world teaches us what we need to be secure, and we've got to make some sacrifices to get it, and we cannot blow it all today and still have that security for tomorrow. Now, once we reach a goal, we feel great. That could be a new dress, new shoes, new suit, new car, new house, new lake home, new business, right? Number one salesman of the year. Wow, look at that. We strive and we strive, we work and we work, and we have a great feeling when we reach that goal. But you know what? That goal is only temporary. And as soon as we got it, we got to start on a new goal. Wow, I just got this new house. Oh my God, look at my neighbor's house is much nicer, right? We're not getting it fast enough, so we lie, cheat, con, manipulate. We cause pain and suffering for others, and they retaliate and cause us pain and suffering. We don't understand why they're doing it. My big one, I was commission salesman. I could justify taking somebody else's deal and pocketing that. Man, I could justify it to myself and them, right? Sex instinct. All humans have that desire, right? If we didn't, we would die out as a species. What a great feeling upon the completion of the sex act, right? Emotionally, physically, right? But it's only temporary, right? So we're done with it, and we start thinking about doing it again. Now, this is so pleasurable and exciting that, again, we're done. We start thinking about doing it again. Then we start thinking about doing it in different ways, then in different positions, and then with different people. Next thing you know, we're doing it at the wrong time, the wrong place, with the wrong person. We create pain and suffering for others, and they retaliate, and they create pain and suffering for us. So the fulfillment of these basic instincts can be so pleasurable that all humans from time to time are going to overdo in one or more of these areas, right? And they create pain and suffering for others. Self-will comes from these instincts. We overdo them, particularly alcoholics, man. We overdo them, and we create what are called wrongs. So we're going to see that resentment's incorrect judgment, right, is a wonderful definition for resentment. We have incorrect judgment about other people and other things. Incorrect perception or believing. That's another word for fears, right? We have incorrect perception or believing. And then, of course, we have incorrect treatment of other people. Those are the hurts and the harms that we do other people. We step on their toes, and they get pissed and they retaliate. Right? Now, it's easy to spot a self-centered, selfish human being running on self-will rather than God's will. This person, and I was that guy, always madder than hell. Damn him, damn her. They can't do that to me. Always scared to death. Oh my God, I'm going to get it this time. And you can't depend upon God. You can't depend upon other people. And if you're an alcoholic reaching the end of the road, we can't depend on ourselves. And we're absolutely scared to death. A selfish, self-centered person, in order to fulfill the basic instincts of life, are always overdoing these things and causing harms and hurts for others, right? Because I certainly did, and most alcoholics try to treat an inside problem with these outside things. The new house, the new car, the new girl, the new job, looking better than that guy at work. I did that, not him, right? So we overdo on it, and we create pain and suffering. And then people don't like that. They retaliate. All right. Any idea where I was in the book? Page 62, but where?
I think it's sore troubles, we think.
Very good. Okay. So that one, we're gonna highlight that baby. We're gonna highlight the next 2, 4, 6 lines. So our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making. They arise out of ourselves, and the alcoholic is an extreme example of self-will run riot, though he usually doesn't think so. Above everything, we alcoholics must, circle must, be rid of this selfishness. We must, circle must, or it kills us. God makes that possible. Okay, so, thank goodness. Our troubles, we think, are basically of our own making, right? I mean, if I used to think it was the cops, the judge, my boss, my girlfriend, my parents, my sister. If it was all those people, I'd be in serious trouble because I can't change them. I have no power to change them and I would be screwed. But if it's me, I can change myself and I got a chance, right? So it is me, right? I discovered that. And thank heavens it's me, because then I can get better. And there often seems no way of entirely getting rid of self without His aid. Circle His. And somewhere in there write honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. So they're saying these basic instincts are good. It's just that sometimes we go crazy with them, right? We got to learn how to be like regular folk. Many of us had moral and philosophical convictions galore, but we could not live up to them. Right in there, write broken promises somewhere. I wrote it between the lines, broken promises. But we could not live up to them even though we would have liked to. Neither could we reduce our self-centeredness, underline our self-centeredness, much by wishing or trying, and then again underline on our own power. Okay? And then underline the next 5 words. We had to have God's help, and circle had because that's a must. That's a must. This is the how and why of it. First of all, underline the next 6 words. We had to quit playing God. Okay? So underline that and circle God. Now, where it says we, okay, circle the word we and draw a little arrow into the margin there and put your name. So in other words, I have John had to quit playing God. Right? John had to quit playing God. And you can write step 3 right there too. It didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, we're going to circle all the words for God, and we're going to highlight the next 3 lines. God was going to be our director. He is the principal, and we are His agents. He is the Father, and we are His children. So right there. And then we're gonna write a few things off to the left here. So maybe go up a little bit. We're going to write selfish, arrow money. And I know there's other definitions, but when we do the 4th step, we're going to be mainly about money. So selfish, money. Self-centered, little arrow, it's about me. Selfish, money, self-centered, it's about me. Fear that people won't do what I want them to. That's a big fear. Fear that people won't do what I want them to. I had a lot of that going on today. That's why I almost went off the deep end. Thank goodness I didn't. I've learned that when chaos is swirling around in my head to keep my mouth shut, and that really saves me a lot. Fear that people won't do what I want them to. And then we're also going to write selfishness equals me not getting what I want out of life, relationships, at work, family, ... Another definition. Selfishness, me not getting what I want out of life, relationships, work, family, ... And then at the bottom we're going to write, we do selfless acts to get rid of our selfishness. We do selfless acts to get rid of our selfishness. You know, and for me, I just had to do it. I had to start giving of my time and my money. We do selfless acts to get rid of our selfishness. Okay, and then if you got room, we're going to write one more thing. Need God because we are immature. And I'm going to give you a wonderful definition of immaturity. Need God because we are immature. A, impatient. B, we play God. And C, we can't handle frustration. Those are 3 wonderful signs that you're immature, and I've got all of them. Need God because we are immature. We're A, impatient. B, play God. C, can't handle frustration. Most good ideas are simple, and this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we pass to freedom. So next to that, we're going to write third step promise. That is a third step promise. Remember, Bill is building this arch for us that we're going to walk through to freedom, and the stones in the arch are the steps. Third step promise. We're going to pass through this arch to freedom. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. Highlight the next 3 lines. We had a new employer. After employer, write God. Being all-powerful, He provided what we needed. Circle if, we kept close to Him and performed His work well. Okay, so next to those 3 lines, let's write God's will for us. God's will for us. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves. Underline our little plans and designs. It's that little there. More and more we became interested in seeing what, underline, we could contribute to life. Circle those 5 words. What we could contribute to life. And then draw a little arrow out somewhere and write instead of taking. Instead of taking. Right? We tend to be takers. What can we contribute to life instead of taking? As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of, highlight, His presence, we began to lose our fear of today, tomorrow, or the hereafter. We were reborn. Highlight that. And next to all of that, we're going to write third step promise. There's a wonderful third step promise right there. And they're talking about being reborn. They're talking about being reborn in our mind. Right? So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to clear away a lot of wreckage. A lot of incorrect thinking that we've got going on up there with the steps. We do that through 4 through 11. So we're going to write something off to the right. We're going to write service work. Service work. And then write, we feel awkward, but talk to people, reach out, put your fear aside. Service work. We feel awkward, but talk to people, reach out, put your fear aside. What can I bring to the meeting? What can I bring to the meeting? Well, what can I bring to any situation, really? Service work, we feel awkward, but talk to people, reach out, put your fear aside. What can I bring to the meeting? I'll never forget when that first guy at my sponsor made me raise my hand when they said who's willing to be a sponsor, and this guy tapped me on the shoulder, and I freaked out. It's like, no, I'm going to kill the guy. Okay, so we're going to skip the third step prayer because we're going to take that tonight. We're going to go through step 3. We'll do that at the end. We got just a little bit left to read. So near the end of the third step prayer in the book where it says, "May I do thy will always." Can you everybody find that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so put a 1 in front of we. We're going to write third step directions. So we're going to read these and then we're going to take that step. You got it? We're at the bottom of we're at the middle of the page 63. We're after "May I do thy will always." Okay, put a 1 in front of we. We thought well before taking this step, making sure we were ready. Put a 2 in front of that we could at last abandon ourselves utterly to Him. And then put a 3 in front of we. and highlight the next 4 lines. We found it very desirable to take the spiritual step with an understanding person such as our wife, best friend, or spiritual advisor, but it is better to meet God alone than with one who might misunderstand. Okay? The wording was, of course, quite optional so long as we express the idea. Put a 4 in front of voicing, and then highlight voicing it without reservation. Okay, so those are the 4 third-step directions. We can write third-step directions in there. Okay, and then somewhere in there, let's write, don't inflict our opinion of God on others. We are not to do that. Don't inflict our opinion of God on others. Remember, are you even willing to believe that maybe there's something? Don't inflict our opinion of God on others. This was only a beginning, though if honestly and humbly made, an effect, sometimes a very great one, was felt at once. Yet after that you can write promise again. There's another promise. Okay, let's highlight the next 2 lines. Next, we launched out on a course of vigorous action, the first of which is a personal house cleaning. So by vigorous action, we're going to write 4 through 12. And then by personal house cleaning, we're going to write step 4. Okay? And at the bottom of the page, let's write, spirituality is following a set of rules. It's following a set of rules. I used to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted it to do it, all the time, right? Spirituality, I mean, for me, that's what gives my life meaning, right? Living by these principles and following a set of rules. And this book gives me those rules, and we'll talk more about them as we go through these steps. So at the top of page 64, and we're almost done, top of page 64, we're going to write 30 days to break a habit. 30 days to break a habit. The first step of which is a personal house cleaning, which many of us had never attempted. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, next to that write third. They're saying the third step is a vital and crucial step. Okay, very important. We're going to highlight to the end of the paragraph. It could have little permanent effect unless at once, circle at once, followed by a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things in ourselves which had been blocking us. Okay, so somewhere in there we're going to write 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So these things are blocking us. There's something that's blocking us off from God. Right? So we can make all the decisions in the world, but if we don't take action, nothing's going to happen. And then we're going to double underline, our liquor was but a symptom. Our liquor was but a symptom. So we had to get down to causes and conditions. Okay, so after that you can write stop week 7, right, with sponsee. And then off to the left we're going to write anger and fear block us from God. We got all kind. Damn him! They can't do that to me. That dirty son of a bitch can't do that to me. How is God going to get through that stuff, right? Right? Oh my God, I'm going to get fired. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. God can't get through that stuff, man. He simply can't. Now, I had, I think maybe 10 years ago, one of my teeth got cracked and it hurt like hell. And I went in and they were gonna do something to it. The guy pulled the tooth. He started working on it and he said, "Oh my God, I'm not going to charge you anything. Get out of here." There was something really wrong with it. So that was maybe 10 years ago, and so I didn't have a tooth. One of my chewing teeth. I didn't have a tooth. I sobered up. So about 5 years ago, I made a decision that I was going to get that tooth fixed. Right? 4 years ago, I said, I really got to get that damn tooth fixed. I can't eat a BLT. 3 years ago, I said, this is it, that damn tooth, man. I can't chew steak. I got to get that tooth fixed. Right? 2 years ago, I said, I'm getting that tooth fixed. God darn it. But this time was a little different. I made an appointment. I followed up with action. I made an appointment with the dentist. I went in. I got a bid on a crown. I got a bid on a bridge. I gave them a down payment. And then I went back and they started work. So my decision to get that tooth fixed had no effect until I took action. And any decision we make in our lives does nothing unless we take action. Columbus decided to sail to try to find a trade route, and it did not have any effect until he took action. Same kind of deal. So let's go back, and we are going to end the session with the third step, prayer. So we're taking step 3 right here so we can get started on step 4 next week. Oh, by the way, does everybody have a 12 and 12? See if you can get a 12 and 12 or borrow it and read the first 5 pages of step 4 on the basic instincts. Get that done. The first 5 pages of step 4 in the 12 and 12. And that they are all about the basic instincts. All right, so we were now at step 3. Many of us said to our Maker as we understood Him, God, I offer myself to Thee, to build with me and to do with me as Thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do Thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help of Thy power, Thy love, and Thy way of life. May I do Thy will always. Peace. Thanks, everybody.